Marketer of the Day, episode 677, Writing, Speaking, Networking, and Book Funnels with Suzy Prudden.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We're here with Suzy Prudden, and she's been on the show before. You can find her previous appearance at marketeroftheday.com/143. And she has a really cool concept called having an itty bitty book. And Suzy has appeared on every major talk show from 1976 through 1995. She did a mini-series on Good Morning America. She's been on the Oprah Winfrey Show again and again. And she even has she's appearing in a new reality show soon called Remake My Life with Shelley Hunt and The Mind Mentor starting this fall. So we're going to hear all about what Suzy thinks you need to know and what Suzy's been up to. So Suzy, glad to be talking to you again.
Nice talking to you again. Thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, are you still doing the itty bitty book stuff? And if you are, can you tell us what that's about?
Itty Bitty Publishing. Itty Bitty Books is a company in the UK where they do little tiny books that are like 2 inches by 2 inches. Our concept with Itty Bitty is to take experts and give them a platform for getting their information out in a small book. It's only 30 pages. And we call ourselves the new dummies. The difference between dummies and itty bitty dummies are 350 pages you have to read with a yellow highlighter, and itty bitty books are the yellow highlights.
And that makes perfect sense in this day and age with the Twitter and the apps, and everyone is just so overwhelmed, busy. Why read 300 pages when it can all be compressed?
Well, people won't. 95% of Americans don't read, and everybody needs information. And you're right, the soundbite era is upon us. And with itty bitty books, the expert has an opportunity to create a relationship with the reader, because we always tell our experts to send the reader to their website and to use their book as a business builder, not just a business card. We have them doing webinars and seminars and teleclasses, and some of our clients have increased their income from 100,000 to 750,000. That's one of our clients has done that. And then 7 of our clients are doing certification programs, and using their book as a guideline, they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars teaching people how to teach people what they teach. That's fun.
It makes the gears in my brain kind of go wibbly wobbly. But it seems like what you're saying here is that like maybe the old way is to try to put everything in the book, and now it's like the book sends people off to the webinars, the workshops, the certifications, and that way it's more fun for everybody, right? Like you can learn from video and quizzes and interaction instead of just trying to bust out that stupid yellow highlighter.
Yeah, because then you have to remember where you yellow highlighted, and you have to remember what it was that you yellow highlighted that you need in that moment. With an itty bitty book, it's written basically in numbered sentences and bullet points. And so an expert can say, you need to know this, you need to know this, you need to know this, you need to know this. And to expand on it, go here. And we have one author who wrote a book on staging your home. There are no pictures in the book because it's only 30 pages, 15 chapters. And on page 2 of every chapter, which he outlines what you do in each room, he sends you to his website where he has photographs of before and after. And real estate agents are buying them literally by the hundreds from us to give to their clients. So when they go to sell their houses, they know what to do. And it's all from this tiny book. And very exciting because they're definitely giving people information in case they need.
And imagine if that real estate agent had said, here's the big, thick 400-page hardbound book. No one, I mean, it'd go right in the garbage. But if it's a little thing, it can, we can carry around. It's not intimidating. It doesn't cost a lot to print or ship, and that's great. So you're saying that the key here is the books are small, but it's all about the links, the resources where the pictures are on the web, the videos are on the web.
Yeah. And we do bestseller campaigns for all our authors. We did our 65th yesterday, and now we have 64 bestsellers, but the only one didn't make it. And it's a very harrowing day for the author. I finally told her to leave me alone. We know what we're doing. She said, I haven't got the letter yet. I haven't got the letter yet. I said, it went out. Don't worry about it. It went out. And for her, it was a harrowing day. And the book reached number 8 by noon. I knew it was going to be number 1 by the afternoon, and it was.
So what's this? What's this process like? Like you say, you've got 64 out of 65 authors to bestseller status. Like, do you? Oh, yeah. Did you have a?
Well, what we do with Itty Bitty is it's a program. It's not just give us your manuscript and we'll print it for you. It's a whole program where we have workshops and seminars, and we're starting to do YouTube. We're starting to actually talk about each book now on YouTube. And you have business strategy calls with me. I love business. I've been in business since 1965. And what else? I'm looking at my list here. So we send, this is fun. We send everybody who becomes an itty bitty author a how to write an itty bitty book. And we send you an itty as an example, and then we send you a template. All you do is fill the it's numbers. Only it's writing by numbers, and you just fill the template according to information you want to give each chapter. And then we print it, put it up on Amazon and all the digitals, and then we do a bestseller campaign for you. And we have a private Facebook page. It's very, very exciting.
You have a streamlined system, right? So anyone can take those raw materials and conform to your format, your process.
And we're not looking for, they can't see me. I was going to do this and nobody can see. Okay, so I was making quote signs for those of you who are listening. And then I realized you're not seeing me. But anyway, now I lost my train of thought. What did you just ask me?
I said you get those authors to conform to your system.
Right. Okay. Now I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
We don't necessarily need people who are already authors. We want experts. And authors really want to write the great American novel for the most part, or really long, thick books. And we don't want them. We do have a program within our publishing company called Legacy Press, which is for longer books. But we really like focusing on the itty bitty books because that's where, I am a serial entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs need books. Small businesses need books. We just sold a book to a restaurant, a chef. She's putting together a cookbook. It's not an itty bitty book, but with a person who's in finance. They need a book to teach people what to do in finances. If it's too long, people won't read it. And then look at the information, right where they started. But if they have numbered sentences and places to go where they can get more information, it's much, much easier on the reader, and it's much, much easier on the author, on the writer.
So everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
And so what kind of like time frame and what sort of like investment are we talking here?
The investment is normally $7,500, but if they come through you, it would be about $5,000. And they really do get a lot from that. They get the workshops, they get the coaching, they get the book. I'll read it to you. They get the book, the cover, the formatting, the copy editing, the back of the book description, keyword selections, the website presence, copyright in their name, the ISBN number, 20 books for promotion, a monthly group author call, business strategy calls. Those are exciting. And placed on the Itty Bitty website directory and interviewed in the Itty Bitty Book Talk podcast. The author is placed on Amazon, Nook, Kindle, Smashwords, Kobo, D2D, iTunes, Barnes & Noble. We have one author who is now speaking in the local libraries all over the area where she lives. And from that, she's both getting clients and selling books. And so I'm hoping more of our authors start to just go to their own library and say, I want to speak. We always do an Amazon bestseller campaign for all of our authors. And as I said, we have 64 right now. We have about 75 books up. And the process, interesting, is up to the author. It can take an author as little as 3 days to write an itty bitty book. And we have some authors who have taken 3 years. It says in the contract they have a year. It used to say 4 months, then it was 5 months, then it was 6 months, and it got longer. And sometimes it takes longer. Some stuff happens in people's lives, get off track. And when they're ready, we say, "Okay, come back, let's keep going." And it's a back and forth process between the author and the editor.
And I mean, if it takes people that, like, sometimes a year or more just to make 30 pages, I mean, imagine if they tried making a traditional book, right? I mean, that would take 100 years. And with all the back and forth, take 500 years.
I'm talking to a potential author on Monday. I met her at an event recently in San Diego, and we had a wonderful time talking. And she said, I've been working on my book for almost 10 years now.
Oh,
I
wow.
said, I think that if you did the itty bitty book now and get your work out there, then at least it's out there, and you can go back to your book. It's taken 10 years. And the itty bitty book usually takes a few months. And some people it's longer, but life happens, and it happens. Such and such. So, okay. We got enough books in the hopper right now. I think I did with my sister, who's a sister, and main editor with her now. And she said, I've got 7 books now almost ready to go up. She put one up last night. She got home.
And that's kind of an interesting point that you make, in that if someone doesn't have to throw out their other plans, like this itty bitty book thing, if they've been toiling on this thing for 10 years, they can put that aside and get that itty bitty book and then see some sales, see some success, and who knows, that might motivate them to finish the big book, or they might get some feedback on the itty bitty book and say, oh yeah, like maybe I don't need all this extra stuff I'm writing, or I can add this one chapter and call it a day, or put their energy instead into the library speaking engagements, or to the webinars or the training. Like, I mean, yeah. So I imagine that. So does this ever happen? Do you have any of these author or these experts, right? Not authors, experts. Do the experts, when they put out their itty bitty book, does it kind of like jumpstart or like re-energize them to do some new stuff?
That's an interesting question. And some yes, some no. I'm always amazed at how many people start with a flash and then it whimpers to an ember. And then there's some that just take off. My expert author, Anthony Camacho, is just his 4th. He and Joan are working on his 4th book, and it'll come out probably within the next month. And he's now traveling all over the world. He got a contract in Australia to go there 6 times a year. He's been to Dubai, he's been to England, and this man is really pushing. And then I've got people who call me and say, why isn't my book selling? And I simply say, because you're not doing anything to cause it to sell. You can't sit back. When I was writing books in the 70s and 80s, my publisher would send me on tour. And that 6 weeks that I was on the road, we would sell maybe 30, 40, 50,000 books. And you have to market it. So I tell people, take the book wherever you go and market it. Some people do, some people don't. I feel like I'm talking too long, but I have another point to make. I have a new author, and in the first 2 months that her book was out, that's the one who's speaking in libraries all over the place. She's also speaking in bookstores and bringing her books to sell. And she's also talking to the Boys and Girls Club of America, because her book is on space, and she thinks people need to and want to know about space exploration. And Boys and Girls Club, and that's 400 billion kids. She wants every one of those kids to have her book.
Awesome. That's a good goal.
I want every kid in the Boys and Girls Club to have her book. I'll retire, but no, not really. It's too much fun. But her vision is so big that her vision is carrying her, and it's carrying her, and she's selling books. She sold a book in Costco the other day. She was waiting online, and somebody asked her a question, and she responded, and they got into conversation. She pulled her book out of her purse, and the woman said, "Oh, I'd like to buy that." Bought it.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty good. That's like 24 hours a day, always on in selling mode, because who knows who will come across who wants it.
Exactly. Whenever I go to speak, I take a lot of books with me, and sometimes, and I don't take them to sell. I take them to show. When people look at them and they see the different topics, they want it. And we had one author, my assistant emailed me yesterday. She said, "John Bates sold 140 books yesterday. What's he doing?" So I wrote him. I said, "John, what are you doing? You sold 140 books yesterday." He wrote me back. He said, "I don't know. What are you doing?" So, and then we had another author. Amazon contacted us and said, "Expect a check for $2,000-something this month. Stephen Carpenter sold 1,000 books yesterday." Something to that effect. Well, Stephen said, "What did you do?" He said, "I don't know. What did you do?" So these things happen, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, so it seems like it's the combination of all these things, right? It's like you have all these proven techniques that are working, ways that you're marketing the book, and it's like all the little things added up, and sometimes you know where the sales are coming from, and sometimes you don't. But you know what you're talking about here, I hear it again and again from these authors where like they're like, well, the publisher is kind of like, think of them as like the printer, right? Like they'll crank out your books, but it's up to you to do everything you can to, you know, make the YouTube videos, like talk to your network, get the speaking gigs. Like the book's not going to sell itself. It would be nice if it did, right? And we always see other people's books ranked highly on Amazon, and we think, oh, well, because it's ranked highly, like they just must be flying off the shelves. But it's like they had to do things, or they are doing things that you're not seeing, like running ads or hopping on podcasts, right? Doing things to sell the books that we don't see. And it seems to me like that's the it's really simple. That's the one thing that separates the authors that sell 10 copies and sell thousands, right? It's the ones that sell more, the ones that they say, well, when the book's done and written and printed, like that's step one. That's the beginning. That's not the end of the process. Like now you start, now you're going and marketing all this.
Yes. The book, publishing the book is the beginning. And a lot of authors and experts think it's the end. It's the beginning, it's the cornerstone of your business. And I can work with an author, and because I'm a business strategist, and I don't know how I do this, but all of a sudden I'll see the business and what steps they need to take to create for their business and also to sell their books. And that's the beauty of what we do, is that we create relationships with our authors, and some of our authors don't want to bother, and I'm stunned. I'm stunned that they don't want to bother. I have an author who wrote a book on teaching parents how to raise their kids in the entertainment industry, because that's a very, very strange industry, and kids can get swept away. She did it. Her kids are very successful in the entertainment industry, and they had a childhood. And she speaks at all the schools for teaching actors. I said, "Sell your book." And she's not. So, how did you write? So it's that kind of thing. That's some of my authors. So it's a mix. It's funny. It's 80-20 rule. 20% of my authors are go-getters and 80% aren't. And we have a call every month. Call me every time, and some do and some don't.
And what I hear from that answer from you there is that, you know, how you said, like, 80% of the authors just kind of don't do it or don't get it. What that tells me is if we tend to not naturally be marketers or naturally be introverted, then maybe that's a sign that we need to push ourselves a little bit more, right? And maybe like work on talking to more people, or work on like overcoming the shyness or the embarrassment, because like it just has to be done, right? If you want to sell some books.
If you want to sell books, you have to get out there, period. You have to get out there. You have to be visible. You have to carry your book like Pam does everywhere you go, like Anthony does. Everywhere he goes, he carries his books. And what he'll do is he'll give his book. Now, I tell my authors, don't give it away unless it's to a decision maker that's going to bring you in to do a talk or get you on a radio show or something of that nature. Don't just give it away as a business card. First of all, I find that imposing. I don't like books to be, here's my book. I don't like, I respect books. And if I don't want the book, I don't want to be given the book. Then what am I going to do with it? I'm not going to read it. And so I tell my authors, if a person really wants your book, they can pay $10 to buy it, or go on Amazon and pay $6.99. And they can do that, but don't give it away unless what Anthony does is gives it to the decision maker who's going to bring him in to teach what he teaches he's in the automotive industry. He teaches auto sales people how to sell by creating relationships with the people they're selling to, not by badgering them. And he's making a fortune doing that, using his book as the introduction. But otherwise, he sells it, and he sells it to everybody in his classes. And it's so he's crushing it. It's wonderful. He's on his 4th book, and we have a couple of authors who are doing trilogies. They're writing 3 different topics on their topic, and then we're putting them together in a thick book. Those books can go in bookstores. I don't like bookstores. I just as soon market everything on the internet.
Right. I mean, if the internet's what's growing and the bookstores are dying, why go down with the sinking ship? And so that's cool that you can kind of have your cake and eat it too, right? You can have the itty bitty books for people that just want something quick, and then for people that want more of the deep dive, you have the trilogy. You put it together, and then that conforms to the traditional thing, right? But what I've been hearing from some of your case studies here is something that, I mean, it's the most simplest thing ever, but I missed it for like years, is that with this whole book thing, it's like if you know who you're talking to, and you know what their problems are that are obvious but just still aren't getting solved, if you have a new way of solving that problem, then people will love it, it'll flow out of you, and then you always have things to talk about. And even though that saying that out loud seems like the most simplest thing in the world, I mean, I'm sure at some point you've fallen in this trap. It's easy to just talk about stuff, right? It's easy to say, oh, I do this, or I want to unpack that, or talk about that. But it's like, if they're not having that problem, they don't care. And if it's not an urgent problem, they don't care. And that's all the more reason for you make this book short, make an itty bitty book, make it about the actual ways that they're stuck. Like these car salespeople are having trouble connecting with their customers. You don't need to talk about everything else, just those problems. And then that relates to where we started, where we're saying things need to be in sound bites, need to be focused. And I mean, it probably, I think I'm on my like 13th book now. It took me 12 books of just putting out crap and now I have something it's simple, accessible, solving problems. And that's what I'm hearing from all these stories you're saying. Yes. It's like just solve people's problems. It can be just as simple as that.
It is as simple as that. It's interesting. It's a little more challenging to write less. So we do have people who tend to write more, and then we have to send it back to them and say, no, cut it a bit, cut it a bit, cut it a bit, a little more cut, a little more cut. And eventually they get it, because they want to spill. They want to give it all. And that's for the next book. That's for your big book. But for the itty bitty book, that's your introduction into a world that can be huge. Truly.
I believe it.
And make a very big difference.
Yeah, I mean, teach kids about space, all kinds of like crazy markets.
And she's got a huge market because there are thousands of people who are absolutely fascinated with space, and there are organizations all over the country, and she just has to tap into those organizations. She's got a market.
And so how does that happen? Like how do you decide whether a book is good for libraries or the Boys and Girls Club or such and such association? Like, how do you decide that, and then how do you get into that?
Each author has to look at what their market is. And for example, I have an author whose third book was put up last night. She's going to be speaking at a conference on the 8th of October. She's going to have all 3 books there. The conference is focused on financial wellness, and that's her topic. So what she does is she goes, she speaks, she talks about her books, she talks about her workshops. People buy the books, they're introduced to her through the book, and then they sign up for her workshops, her seminars, or as a one-on-one client. So she's actively looking for speaking opportunities where her top is needed. And that's what I tell all the authors to do. Find the speaking gigs. Anthony Camacho speaks all over the country. He has seminars in Las Vegas. He's actively promoting himself and his book at the same time so that he can reach the people that have trouble making sales, so he can teach them how to make sales. Sales is an interesting topic because we're all selling all the time, but a lot of people don't like it, like in sales.
So it's a common, very needed a problem that needs to be solved, and needs to be solved in kind of a fresh way, because the information out there is just not cutting it seems.
Not like his is. I mean, it's interesting. I have some wonderful sales coaches, and they're all different, and they're all successful in their own right. But Anthony's success is over the top because he markets himself. And you're all about marketing. I'm all about marketing. I market myself all the time. I was in San Diego last week, marketing myself by being at an event. I pitch and talk about Itty, talk about me. And we were all pitching. It was fun. I don't know if you know it, New Media Summit. It's phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm looking at, we've got it's like we've got health books, Staying Young at Any Age. The one that sold 1,000 copies in one day, Stephen Carpenter, about safety. He worked on the Apple building up in San Francisco area. His job is to make sure that every worker, thousands of them, walked onto the property in the morning, walked off safely that evening. So he worked with I don't know how many contractors every single day to make sure that whatever they were doing, they were following the safety codes. And he had stacks and stacks of OSHA books. He put all that information into and he walks around with a itty bitty book in his pocket. Contractors walk around with this itty bitty book, tells them exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it, to keep it safe.
Super cool. So we all need it, right? We all need to compress all those stacks of OSHA books into something short and sweet, to the point, easily carried around, and then gives people the first few solutions to their problems, and then gets them to the website, gets them to other stuff. And so if people like this itty bitty book idea, if they're either sold or ready to go, or if they're getting there but need more information, what sorts of websites or resources or next steps do you have for us today?
Thank you for asking. My website is www.ittypublishing.com. I have my TEDx talk there, and there's I write an ebook, and then you can fill out, have a free consultation with me, fill this out, and I get that information and call you, and we talk, and if you're the right candidate, we go forward, and if you're not, there's 2 nots. 1, you're not ready, and you tell me I'm not ready, or 2, you're not a fit, and I tell you, I don't think we're a fit for you. Do not take everybody's books. It has to be a fit, and because if it's not a fit, it would be a waste of your time and money and a waste of our time and money as well. And there are other publishers, but if you are a fit for us, I'll tell you. And what happens, it's fun. I'll start getting ideas while I'm talking to a potential client. All of a sudden, I'll see how they can up business into business, which is what I love to do.
Yeah, and I imagine that, yeah, it kind of goes both ways, right? It's like you have some proven stuff that has worked in these other industries, other authors, you can use that, but then also you have some new and it excites you with new ideas that you can use for other people. So it's everybody wins.
Yes, everybody wins. And that's what we want at Itty Bitty Publishing, is for the publisher to get so excited about their own book and their own process that their business increases. As I said, it's a business builder, not just a business card. And it's a good way to get, it positions the author as an expert in their field immediately. It positions the author as an authority. It raises them up. I was talking to a friend of mine who's an event planner and organizer, and she said if she has two people contact her that want to speak at her events, and one has a book and one doesn't, she always takes the one with the book. And so if anyone listening to this wants to speak and wants to get on stage, when you have a book, you're automatically put at the head of the line. And having an itty bitty book is just as important as having a bigger book. Some people say, no, I want a big book. And usually the itty books are more interesting than the bigger books.
Right.
And so write an itty bitty book. And if you, I mean, I've written 11 books with the big houses in New York, and they were big books. And they were fit, so had exercise and all that kind of stuff. We're doing this book out pictures, and if the people want to know the exercise routine, they go to the expert website where they have videos and do the video, not having to read a book and try to get into the position, the exercise position with each picture, but go right to the website where there's a video and they can do it with the expert on video.
Right. So it's way more convenient that way. And instead of trying to, because like, I mean, I think at some point or another, we've all tried seeing a diagram and on the book and trying to duplicate it in real life. And it's like assembling furniture. It's like, I just want to see the video of it done. I don't want to know if tab A goes into tab B. Just send me to the website. So this is all,
missing.
right. And then you're really screwed. So, and if you had a website to go to, you could reorder the missing piece as opposed to just having the book.
Right.
So
and there's probably music included.
Yeah, to keep you more entertained. So I guess the big, like, I don't know, recurring theme I'm getting from our talk today has been that people need to go for it, right? That you don't know which speaking gig is going to be the one that does it, or all of them are the ones that get you to 1,000 book sales in a day. We all need books. We all need to be pursuing these speaking gigs, and maybe even if we're confident enough, have the book in our pocket, take it to Costco, because you never know where you're going to make your sales. But you can guarantee a way to not make sales, right? Which is to not sell your book, not have a book, and that just doesn't seem like fun to me at all. So the place for people to go for it and take that action is to go to ittybittypublishing.com and get more information and see what the whole thing is about, of having a small book that gives people your best stuff, the most helpful stuff, and then sends them off to a website instead of a big, huge book that no one will read. And this way, you can get a book done. This can open some doors for you, get the speaking gigs, get the coaching, all that cool stuff you want. And ittybittypublishing.com is the place to go. Anything to say, just to wrap things up, finish things up here, Suzy? Any like final words come to mind?
I'll say no, but I just want people to be successful. And that's what I focus on. Our business is your success, is what we say. And I want you to be successful. And having an itty bitty book is one piece of the puzzle. There's a lot to do in this current world to get to the top. You have to be willing to do the work. And if you're willing to do the work, you'll get there. And it'd be a very difficult ride if you're not willing to do the work. Like a breeze, you are willing to do the work. People love to see other successful. So do it, call me or text me or whatever. Go to the website. You can also text me at 310-640-8885 and say, please call me to talk about an itty bitty book, and I will.
Perfect. Well, you practice what you preach. Even you're willing to do the work and answer those texts, make that phone call. So we'll see everyone over there at ittybittypublishing.com. And thanks, Suzy, for having a lot of fun with me and talking about all this stuff that people need to know about getting their books, getting noticed, standing out, because as you said, it's so competitive. We need to do those things to rise above from everyone else, right? Because we're all unique and we have those things that can help people.
Yes.
So ittybittypublishing.com is the place to go, and we'll see you there. Bye now. This is Robert Plank, and would you like to be a guest on the program? Do you have an idea for a future episode, or do you just want to tell us how we're doing? Get in touch with us right now at marketeroftheday.com/ask to let us know.